Hi, and welcome back to Vintage Nerd. Today I'd like to share with you a review of some of my favorite classic films, actually from my personal stash. Now I watch most of my classic films via Netflix and Hulu, but some films I felt compelled to own. So I'm going to start with the 1960s. Today's video is going to be completely dedicated to the films that I have from the 1960s. So my first recommendation is The Time Machine, starring Rod Taylor. It came out in 1960. Rod Taylor recently passed away. He was a phenomenal actor. He was also in the film The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. Anyway, in this film, his character is an inventor in 1899, and he just feels like he doesn't fit in that time, and he wants to explore other times in history to see if he could find the time where people are evolved and more peaceful. And he goes through this incredible journey. The FX is outstanding for the time, and the actual structure of The Time Machine is incredible. What a masterpiece. I love this film. I know that there have been remakes, but this one stands the test of time. Next one from my stash is Breakfast at Tiffany's, starring Audrey Hepburn and George Peppard. You may have remembered George Peppard from the A-Team 1980s show. That's the first time I ever saw him, so when I discovered him in Breakfast at Tiffany's, I just swooned over him because he was just so dashing and young and handsome. Now, this film is not everyone's cup of tea because basically Audrey Hepburn's character of Holly Golightly is a call girl, escort, prostitute in New York City who's not looking for love. Like Julia Roberts' character in Pretty Woman, she's not looking for love, she's looking for stability, and she thinks that by finding a rich man, she will find stability, and that's where she'll find her happiness. But she meets George Peppard, who's in a similar situation with an older woman, and he's a struggling writer, and by the end of the film, she has to decide whether to live her life with or without love. This came out in 1961 again, and it was written by Truman Capote. I love this film. It's one of my very favorite Audrey films. My next one is The Misfits with Clark Gable, Marilyn Monroe, Montgomery Clift. It came out in 1961 as well. It was written by Arthur Miller, who was the then husband of Marilyn Monroe. And I have to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of Marilyn, as many of you are, but this character of Rosalind that she plays, I feel is the most spot on, the closest character that she has ever gotten to. That I really feel like when I'm watching her play this character, I feel like I'm watching a little bit of her. She's a divorcee. She ends up meeting Clark Gable and Montgomery Clift's characters, and they become the Misfits. These two gentlemen are horse wranglers, and they collect horses for horse meat, which Rosalind has a big problem with. And they go through quite a few things together. I just feel like Marilyn really, really shines in this film. This is actually the last film Clark Gable ever made. He passed away shortly after. My next recommendation is one that I saw twice, and I just said to myself, that's it, I have to own it. It really grows on you. It's called Georgie Girl. It's actually an English film from England. Came out in 1966, starring James Mason, Alan Bates, and Lynn Redgrave. Lynn Redgrave is a legacy actress. She's no longer with us. Her father was Michael Redgrave, who was a famous actor in the 1930s and 40s. Her sister was, or Vanessa's still alive, is Vanessa Redgrave. Vanessa Redgrave's daughters also have acted, so massive legacy. I just love the fact, okay, so Georgie comes from, her parents are both the servants of a rich man that James Mason plays. She grows up with him, kind of treating her like a daughter, but he really falls in love with her. She lives with a roommate who's very self-centered and selfish, and that's actually Charlotte Rampling, who was very, very famous in the 1960s for her fashion taste. So she lives with this roommate who's self-centered. Her roommate has a boyfriend. Her roommate ends up getting pregnant, and Georgie just wants to become a mother so badly. And it's basically about her relationship between James Mason's character, who is the wealthy older man that owns the house, and her roommate and the roommate's boyfriend. And the journey that Georgie goes from being Little Miss Frumpy to Somebody's Beautiful Bride, and I absolutely love this film. I feel like when I watch this film, I'm seeing the 1960s in its raw, real form. Next recommendation is a film with Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda. I love this film. It's called Yours, Mine, and Ours. It came out, let's see, in 1968. And it has a massive cast. Actually, the eldest son is, let's see if they have his name here, but if not, I'll leave it at the bottom of the video. He's a well-known actor as well. Of course, I can't remember it right now, but I'll leave it at the bottom of the video. Anyways, Lucille Ball, Henry Fonda, they've had a really great relationship work-wise, these two actors, and they always wanted to do a movie together, and this is it. It's based on a true story. A gentleman has, I think he has 10 kids and she has 8. They fall in love when they find out that the other person has that amount of children. They kind of try to stay away from each other, but they fall in love and then they make it work, and at the end, I think they have 20 children. It's funny, it's clever. Lucille Ball is just, there's a scene with her eyelashes and her slip or her petticoat that is just totally worth seeing. I love this film, it's so much fun. And my last recommendation, again, this is an acquired taste. I know some people are not fans of Jane Fonda, but I'm a fan of her as an actress. Jane Fonda in Barbarella. I got this for my birthday recently, if you saw my other birthday video. This film also came out in 1968. It is directed by Robert Vadim, who was Jane's then husband. Her father was Henry Fonda. Her brother is Peter Fonda. This movie is just so creative. It's literally psychedelic. I mean, it blows you away. It's pure sci-fi set in the future. Barbarella is a part of a world and Earth that is full of peace. They don't no longer have wars and all that. It's all about kind of love and peace. They no longer also have intercourse. They use pills and put their hands together. It's really funny and clever. The costumes are insane. She's absolutely gorgeous in this movie. I just think, I know it's quirky as some 60s films are because of the time, but you know what? Give it a chance. If you see it, you don't like it, look at it again 2 years later. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite films. If you ever see me on my blog or on Instagram saying the term, oh, that's so pretty, that comes from my love of Barbarella, because one of the characters, she uses the term, oh, pretty, and I just absolutely love this film. So this is my 60s stash so far. I hope to add to it. If you have any recommendations for me of 1960s films that you think that would be great to watch, just let me know. Comment below, subscribe, or let me know via my Instagram, blog, or email. Bye.